Well, hello there, my friends. It seems that we've got another DLC for Field of Glory 2 Medieval, and this one is called Rise of the Swiss. One thing I really love about this DLC, it takes place, I think, entirely in the 15th century, and we've also got some religious wars in it. Well, kinda, sorta. I want to show you guys here in a second. First of all, let me go ahead, drop this in our announcements. Alright, so here we go. When I was mentioning the religious aspects, first we're actually going to jump into the campaign so you guys can see what's new. Number one, so you've got Louis XI's campaign here. Son, of course, of King Charles VIII. And known as the Universal Spider. This is one that I really don't know much about, but it seems quite interesting, of course. Of course, much like the DLC itself, we've got the Rise of the Swiss. This campaign chronicles the rise of the Swiss Confederacy from its beginnings in the alliance of the three forest cantons, Schweiz, Uri, and Unterwalden in 1291, through its expansion to include the other cantons of the old Swiss Confederacy, and the growth of the legend of Swiss invincibility, until the turn of the 16th century. Another beautiful one, and I think this is really what the DLC is called, or is named for, but I have to say the one that I'm looking forward to the most, guys, are the Hussite Wars. And the Hussites were an early Protestant Christian movement following the teachings of reformer Jan Hus. Those of you that know a little bit about, history during this time and a little bit about religion should know Jan Hus, and gain the support of the majority of the Czech populace of Bohemia, while most of the German minority remained Catholic. On the 6th of July, 1415, the Council of Constance found Jan Hus guilty of heresy and burned him at the stake. And what happened was on July, in Prague, anti-Hussites threw stones at a Hussite procession, and this created a sort of uprising, a Hussite rebellion of sorts, in the memory of Jan Hus. That one, I think, looks fascinating. And, of course, the Swiss Confederacy. Now, if we go into battles, epic battles, we've got some good stuff here in Rise of the Swiss. Again, just about every one of these 15th century battles that are just well known. Hey, how you doing, AnthonyJones? The Hussite battle wagons. Oh, yes. It's amazing. It's epic here. Now, of course, Fornovo, I think most people will know about, but we've got a lot of other interesting ones. And speaking of the Hussites, as Anthony here is talking about, we've actually got the Battle of Kutna-Hora, and we can play as the Hussites, the Taborites, against the Crusaders sent by the Church. We've also got some Swedish rebels against the Kalmar Union, and, of course, Lancaster and York, War of the Roses, I believe, is going to be another one of the battles, if I'm not mistaken here, and maybe even one of the campaigns. I may have missed that one when I was heading through the campaigns there. Let's actually just jump back. I want to make sure. And what I think I want to try, I was going to do one of the battles, but now I'm kind of tempted to try the Hussite uprising. Seems pretty cool. Let's see here. It might be Charles the Bold. It might be. Well, we'll see. But anyway, let's get to the Hussite Wars. I really want to see what this is like. So I'm going to launch this campaign as the Hussites. Of course, one of the first Protestant uprisings, I guess, at the time. In memory of our friend Jan Hus. Okay, let's get started. We're going to keep a static campaign. This will actually gradually scale up difficulty. Let's keep things simple here. Following the death of King Wenceslas IV on 16th August 1419, leaving King Sigismund of Hungary and Germany, titular King of Bohemia, Hussite forces gained control of Klatovy, Bishek, Luni, Žatec, and Pisen. There was heavy fighting between Hussite and Catholic forces in Prague, and a special apology for certainly butchering these names, which ended in a truce on 13th November. So guys, we are going to be playing as a Hussite detachment here. We are going to offer battle. And again, we will be fighting the full power of the Catholic Church. So just imagine, especially during the 15th century here, when Protestantism was really just beginning, essentially, this sort of a battle would be almost unthinkable. These guys really had to believe in the cause, of course, and those are the war wagons that were being discussed here by Anthony. And I have not actually tried these out yet. I'm going to go for an autofill, though. Definitely don't trust myself to make these options. Then again, that's a lot of war wagons, man. So let's take here. They're unmaneuverable. They've got handguns, crossbows, other heavy weapons. I'm not familiar with using this kind of actual armament, let's say. So, are we really supposed to go with war wagons for this battle fully? I'm not so sure. Here we go. Now, the Hussites were known for these kind of wagons, but I sort of wish we had a few more halberdiers. And we'll just have to see kind of how these work in battle. Let's go ahead and add a general unit. And let's put the general unit right here with the pikemen, I believe. Could have actually put him over here with, well, actually, I think the commander-in-chief's already there. Alright, folks. Well, war wagons it is. Let's just see. These things have special abilities. Deploy war wagons. Disembark wagon crew. Let's deploy this one just to see what we're getting here. Aha, so disembarking the wagon crew just turns them into standard war wagon soldiers. Alright, let's see how this plays out. Definitely an original idea for this particular game. Let's go for it. Field fortifications. Actually not familiar with the field fortifications. Well, for goodness sakes, let's hope we don't need them. How about that? Here we go. Here we go. So, oh boy. They are approaching. Let's see how these war wagons do. Again, I've never tried them before, but we can start off with these artillery wagons and try to get a hit on the enemy. I am simply going to move everybody forward one tile here. Getting a little bit closer to them. That cannon should absolutely be in range next turn. I just can't wait to see how these things work. Hey, how you doing, Pixel? Good to see you, man. Alright, let's get that war wagon. Interesting, guys. Alright, here we go. So, that is epic. And we can tell we're in the 15th century. Of course, they've got some very rudimentary muskets. They might actually be called flintlocks this early on. But look at that, man. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the gun trucks from the Vietnam War. Where basically, you know, soldiers would get into these armored trucks with open tops, kind of drive through jungle roads, and fire out the sides. This seems to be the medieval version of that. So here we go. It's going to be a very heavy missile army, clearly. Let's keep firing with those war wagons. Now I wonder, can we move forward and fire? Let's see. I wonder if hitting them from the side is going to do more damage, actually. So let's try and fire from the side here. That's right where our musketmen are actually waiting. Still no damage. Having fun with war wagons, indeed. Hey, how you doing, Armand? Yeah, odd battle wagons. And actually, I think our friend AnthonyJones might know about this a little more than I do. Essentially, this is the Hussite Rebellion. Some call it sort of like the first Protestant uprising against the church. If I'm not mistaken, though, it was before the time of Martin Luther. But I could be mistaken on that. In any case, this war wagon was very important to the Hussite army. And we're just barely learning how to use it, to be honest with you. hasn't really served us much of a purpose yet. I hope it's going to get better, and maybe ultimately we just need to take the units out of it and sort of approach the situation that way. Like over here, we can disembark the wagon crew. Fire! It's also an interesting setup here with this unit. They've got kind of like flailmen in front and crossbowmen behind. Before Luther, yeah, I was right on that one. There you go, before Martin Luther, my goodness. Alright, let's end the turn here. Man, they better start being useful soon, because the enemy is coming in force to crush us to a man. Oh boy. They've got heavy bombards. So again, casualties 0. Casualties over here are actually increased. I don't know why that is. There we go. And I'm really curious to see what happens once these war wagons get into combat. These artillery wagons can't really seem to fire much. And here we go. That wonderful cannon always does its job. Yeah, baby. I'm thinking that using the side of the wagon is the trick. Like, something like this. See, casualties 0 of 4. That actually increases the casualties. There we go. So we're going to try to do that. Is kind of use the sides of this wagon to fire our missiles at the enemy. But will it be enough? I don't know. And don't worry, this is not even actually the Swiss Confederacy campaign. We could take a look at that during the stream as well. We're looking at the Hussite Rebellion just because this is a part of history that I find pretty damn fascinating. God better be with them, because with just war wagons, I don't know how this is going to go. And actually, wow! The war wagons held firm against the spearmen. Alright, okay, so maybe there are some, these guys have some tricks up their sleeves. But even being attacked by a unit of spearmen, they were able to fight them off from the comfort of the wagon there. That's definitely new technology for the time period, that's for sure. For Jan Hus, and of course, most of our fighting is, of course, to commemorate Jan Hus here. So let's just turn. We should have stayed in place. It didn't matter. So facing forward, we still did a lot of damage. So I'm still not 100% sure on the mechanics there of the wagon. Nonetheless, I like that. Gotta get this wagon out of the way. There we go, direct shot. I consider that sub-general a much bigger threat than the other units, so I'm going to go for the sub-general. Maybe we should even dismount the wagon crew here. Let's take a look here. These firearms are not really muskets, flintlocks. They have more in common with precursors to the arquebus. And Anthony says the Hussites were known for circling war wagons defensively. Interesting. So that's how we're going to try to use them, is kind of force the enemy to attack us, but not get right up close and personal. Like right here, probably not the best idea, but keeping our distance here, that might be the correct approach. We've actually got some crossbowmen we could use. Hell, we could even charge through. Look at that charge bonus, too, man. We're not going to go crazy enough. We're not going to go crazy with it yet, but that charge bonus might come in handy. There's Jan Žižka. And let's bring this war wagon forward as well. Sticks with cannons on the end, wow. You know what is fascinating about this DLC, though, if I'm not mistaken, is this is the first one that goes all the way to, I believe, 1497. So technically, the Americas would have been founded in a portion of this DLC, not all of it. Oh, deployed. So you know what? Maybe deployment is the key. There we go. I think we figured it out. Look at that, guys. Deployed war wagons seem to do a lot more damage there. They held firm, but they are starting to waver. Now, see, if only we had known that initially, we should deploy nearly all of these wagons, I believe. This one's already deployed. The rest of these, however, need to be deployed. Let's see what happens. Ending turn. Hold, boys! And again, we won the fight. Unbelievable. No wonder they had to come to a peace treaty with the Hussites. So that's how this war ended. I believe it was a peace treaty, amongst both sides. But I'm not so sure we're going to win this one. Nonetheless, I like to see how these cannons work. That's it, boys. Rally for Jan Hus. In fact, we might be able to go for a charge here, a flanking charge, with our General Drahoslav, and the enemy is fragmented. I'm liking it, folks. But I want to get the best shot here. 0 of 0 casualties, 0-0. That's no good. This guy's not going to be doing any real damage. Going to deploy the war wagons there. I really wanted to deploy them on the hill. Lesson learned. Can we can undo a move, can't we? Yeah, we can undo a move. All right, let's do this. Now we'll deploy. Next turn we'll deploy. And I'm going to go for the mercenary men-at-arms. I'm going for their cavalry. It really is Pixel. Yeah, it's a strange little army. We're not going to win that fight at all. What about the deployed war wagons? I kind of want to allow these guys to join the fray. But let's keep things simple for now. See, even over here we could get a pretty good charge bonus against them. Deploy those wagons. You know what I'm tempted to do? I'm tempted to bring this light horse crossbowman over here and potentially get a charge bonus against that other unit. But see, then they could just charge us immediately, I think. It's risky. It's, I think, too risky to try. Let's disembark this wagon crew. We're going to bring them in for the fight. Good old-fashioned war wagon soldiers. They'll be ready to charge next turn. How you doing, Odinot? Maybe if we just put him here, man. But it's such a risk to put Jan Žižka, our commander-in-chief, right there. But I feel like if we just put one of these guys here and they get that charge off, I'm taking the risk. Huge risk, but I'm taking it. Because that would be a mega charge. Do the same with this wagon crew. We're starting to bring them to the front. And with these guys, let's just keep the fire going. We could actually transfer our general, and I'm kind of tempted to this group of war wagon soldiers. I'm going to do that. Just make this guy that much stronger. In fact, I didn't even realize he gets one shot. It's not going to do much, but why not take it? Yeah, of course not. In Field of Glory, there's no ability to shoot into, like, if units are already fighting, you can't, there's not much you can do. Alright, let's end the turn. But maybe they can charge into melee if the enemy unit is really weak. I wouldn't charge them if the enemy unit was in really good condition. Look at that. Again, our wagon held. Again, it held, man. These wagons are amazing. What a fascinating bit of battlefield technology. Now, I don't think we can hold against all of them, but just look at that. And yep, sure enough, they charged. This was my concern and my fault. Trying to get a risky flank charge there. There's that bombard at work. Come on, boys. And there we go. Not bad. Now, I think the war wagons will not give chase, thank goodness, after a break like that. We're going to deploy it. Actually got lucky with that shot. Unfortunately, it looks like the actual fight back is not going to go in our favor. Ooh, we can definitely take a look at Fornovo. And I would say, Pixel, Fornovo is probably the most known battle in this DLC. At least I'm speaking for myself here. Yes, we'll definitely take a look at Fornovo. Go, boys. Mikhail Zmeshkal. Mediocre. Now, this is where a potential charge could happen. A pretty effective one at that. Gonna deploy those war wagons. But I'm gonna let them get a little bit closer before I would use our commander-in-chief here. Now, with Drahosov, like, I kind of want to go over here and help these guys. I feel like, yeah, I mean, we have to, right? But then again, we've got spears here. We could go over here and deal with the enemy cavalry. It's a tough choice. It really is. Because I feel like this side's about to crumble, pretty much. No, let's stick with the side that's doing well. How about that? All right, here we go. Oh, no, you can... So the great thing about this game, William, you can play as any side you want. So this is bad news, though. The enemy is flanking us. But yeah, you can play as any side you want. Totally up to you. And this, yeah, now they're finally overwhelming that war wagon. But can we break them in the center? Not bad. Come on. Well, let's take a look here. First things first. Yeah, I'm not risking that charge. However, I'd love to break them here in the center. And we might be able to get a flanking charge here. We will indeed. Drahoslav with the flank. Enemies holding firm for now. Let's try and break through the center here. They held firm. They are lucky enemies. My goodness. They held firm again. Now that's a little insane. Come on now. Come on now. Alright, it is what it is, though. Kind of want to pull the cannon up a bit, but that means we can't fire it this turn, I believe. So we are going to move the cannon up closer to the battlefield. And actually, we stand a good chance of winning this fight, melee fight, if they don't run. It's a big if, as you can see. But at least we've got kind of a barrier here against the next attack. So it might take them just a little bit longer to flank us. Gotta take what you can get, folks. Yeah, yep. Ahriman is absolutely right. He's absolutely right. Like, the great thing about the Field of Glory engine in general is just, you can pretty much have anybody fight anybody. We're kind of sticking to the specific DLC, but yeah, it's totally up to you. Alright, folks, ending the turn again. What a fascinating fight, though, with the War Wagons. Not even expecting a victory. I just think it's incredible how good they are at defense. Considering it's a damn wagon, for goodness sakes. So what do? Do they, like, have, like, holes in the sides of the wagon where they can spear out of? Or... because something is improving that defense. And see, all of the units we took out of the wagon are currently in trouble. One wagon breaks. That's the first. And finally, we auto-broke the enemy. Let's see if they continue the charge there into the flank of the cavalry. I was hoping they would. We still might be able to get a pretty amazing flanking charge here. Yeah, let's do it. With the help of Drahoslav Vacek, one of our generals. Again, very risky, but as long as we can break them on the first charge, we'll be past the enemy, and none of these units will be able to turn in time to attack us. I'm going for it. Yeah, baby. So I don't believe they're going to have time to turn and attack us, which means we can probably get behind them. It's going to take a long time to get a nice, like, flanking attack, though. Yeah, it's not looking great for our Taborites, that's for sure. The War Wagons definitely did their job initially, but I think the goal there was just not to remove any men from them at all. You leave your men in the War Wagons, you get those battle fortifications up, and the enemy's going to have a hell of a time actually breaking through them. They're a tough defensive unit. Missile-wise, not very strong, but as Ahriman mentioned earlier, It's pretty much just like sticking, you know, gunpowder on the end of a stick with a little piece of metal. This is a very rudimentary firearm, let's put it that way. I'd love to see if we could break this unit right here, the mercenary men-at-arms. Force them to admit they've made a mistake. Oh, not a single hit with the wagons this turn. I'd love to flank them next turn, but that's assuming we can get into position in time, which I don't think we can. I think the best we could do here is pretty much support them in their attack. But enough of that. I'm getting crushed, absolutely. So that's the Taborite campaign. And again, a lot of new people came into the stream, so I'll just run through really quickly here the campaigns. I know I'm missing one of them. I believe, can't recall which one. However, we've got the Hussite Wars. This is the Taborite campaign. Basically sort of like the first Protestant military campaign. The other one we've got is, of course, Louis XI here. The son of Charles the Seventh, I believe. Interesting little thing we've got going there. And then, of course, Rise of the Swiss. And this is really where the Swiss got their names. Just an amazing fighting force. William says, the war wagoneers were only supposed to leave the wagon IRL when the enemy was retreating or routing. Ah, yep, there you go. I simply did not use the strategy correctly. Initially, I was like, you can't really trust these war wagons. And then they got attacked, and I saw how good their defenses were. And I'm like, wait a minute, I made a mistake. So here's what we're going to do. Let's take a look. So we've got Rise of the Swiss. Now, of course, in terms of the battles here, what Pixel was talking about, it's a very famous battle, the Battle of Fornovo. That is one of the epic battles available here, but there are other ones. So this is the Fornovo battle right here. King Ferdinand I of Naples died in 1494. He was succeeded by his son Alfonso II. Unfortunately, the French King Charles the 13th. Sorry, no, it's a 5, the 8th, let me wake up a bit, believed he had a strong claim to the Neapolitan throne through his paternal grandmother, and encouraged by Milan and Venice, invaded Italy with a powerful army to take Naples by force. So, the French under Charles, or you could play as the League of Venice. Really, really good. Yes, all the campaigns, I agree, are Rambling Exile, all really cool stuff here. I am going to try it out, though. Fornovo is definitely one of the most epic battles, so let's take a look at it. We already took a look at one of the campaigns. Let's take a look at Fornovo. However, before this stream ends, I do want to look at the Swiss campaign, because, well, that's what the DLC is called, right? So, we might as well. Wow. It almost looks like a modded map so far. Look at that. Absolutely breathtaking. That's the French army. I mean, talk about a massive, massive battle. Just look at that, guys. Is this perhaps the largest battle in the game? It's quite possible. It's quite possible here. Of course, we are here playing as the League of Venezia. The French force is marching in, so I would guess that we have to get in there really quick and try and obliterate their forces as quickly as possible. But this is amazing. Like, look at this. So I'm just going to start peppering them with arrows. You guys are familiar with the Borgia series. Is it Netflix or HBO? You're going to love this particular battle as well. Pietro Dodo right there. Would rob the Pope for a single ducat again, of course. The French were very aware of the racket very quickly, let's put it that way. Here we go. I mean, this battle is just massive. And this is just the actual harassing force under Pietro Dudo, the sub-general. Over here, right, we've got our actual army across the river. And just look at this. I mean, massive amounts of Venetian pikemen, Mantuan crossbowmen, just all sorts of different Italian city-states represented, of course. But mostly Venezia, of course. Just beautiful. That's an amazing battle. I'm not playing it, and the reason is because I'll probably make a separate video to play it. It's massive. It's massive. It really is. But let's take a look at the Swiss campaign. I mean, after all, right? Rise of the Swiss is the name of the DLC. So let's jump in here and have a little peek. This campaign chronicles the rise of the Swiss Confederacy from its beginnings in the alliance of the three forest cantons, Schweiz, Uri, and Unterwalden, in 1291, through its expansion to include the other cantons of the old Swiss Confederacy, and the growth of the legend of Swiss invincibility until the turn of the 16th century. Now, let me give a disclaimer here. I know nothing about the Swiss except Switzerland's neutrality, etc. I've been to Switzerland, as a matter of fact, with my mom at 9 years old. I remember, the one thing I remember is everything was very clean, and the chocolates were extremely expensive. That's about all I remember. Oh, and I got chocolate cigarettes. No, not tobacco-based, like literal, you know, little chocolate cigarettes for kids or whatever. But in terms of their actual history, I know nothing. So I'm brand new here, but I always thought that they were... Initially, they made their money through mercenary work, right? That's how they generated funds for their empire. And William says, the Showtime series is my favorite. Jeremy Irons was badass as Alexander. Yes, absolutely. And Cesare's actor was awesome. I thought they were all good. I forget which one it was, a Netflix, HBO, or show. It was probably the Showtime one. But very, very well done. Okay. They make good clocks, exactly. The Swiss watch is amazing. I just remember everything being incredibly expensive. Okay. And if you remember that when you're 9 years old, that's an expensive place to be. So let's jump in here. And we will just stick with standard static campaigns. For those of you that are new to the Field of Glory series in general, you can go with static, which... is kind of just like, you know, you go the standard battles. If you go progressive, the battles get harder and harder and harder as you go along. Additional enemy forces, but we're going to just stick with static for now. So the power of the halberd, and I like close combat. You guys know me, I love charging into stuff with infantry, and I'm hoping that's the kind of army the Swiss are going to be. At the end of the 13th century, the Habsburg Dukes of Austria sought to annex the area around the St. Gotthard Pass, the shortest route to Italy. In 1291, the forest cantons of Schweiz, Uri, and Unterwalden, who had been granted local autonomy by previous Holy Roman emperors, made a formal alliance to defend themselves against Habsburg ambitions. So let's stop these Habsburgs, folks, hopefully, and put them to the sword. Oh, so it's like revival. Interesting, interesting. So let me ask you this. The Tercio formation from Spain, right? Is that, did they get that from the Swiss pikemen? Or was that initially a Spanish idea? And no, that's a question I wonder about here. Not many units, evidently, for this fight. Let's autofill here. Am I mistaken? Yeah, look, this is a very small fight. So we are truly using the power of the Swiss halberdiers. Let's do it. We'll put the general unit. We've already got Werner in here. In fact, I think the most dangerous thing in this army is going to be to make sure our generals don't get killed. Because, of course, this is the first fight of the campaign. Now, again, guys, this is not an epic battle. This is the Swiss campaign. And assuming the Swiss started with 3 German city-states, or Swiss city-states, I should say, I'm not thinking that they're going to have many men. So each of these might represent different city-states, for all we know. Here we go. Let's end the turn. Let's see who we're facing. If we end up facing, like, a huge army... Oh, my gosh! Alright, well... But those are the points we were given, so I'm not sure if we're supposed to get reinforcements at some point, or if we're supposed to... Oh, there we go! That's what I was waiting for. Our flanking forces have arrived. And William says, yeah, Switzerland has a lot of mercenary history. Since for years Switzerland was at war. First some Longoben-Ron, then Frogs, then the Habsburgs, then Charles the Bold. Oh, so the idea was influenced by the Landsknechts. Okay. Who were also influenced by the Swiss, but they hated each other. Man, it's kind of like the Gestapo and the KGB back and forth, learning each other's trade secrets. Not to say these guys are as bad as those, but here we go. Oh, wow, yeah. They were disrupted just by the arrival of the flanking force. All right, well, let's start pushing. And we've actually got an uphill advantage if we can get there on time. Let's try and use our light crossbowmen here, just to pepper the enemy. I expected that to be a little more damaging. So we definitely want to make contact with that force before they reach our much smaller force. But what an ambush, you know, to just kind of make them think that this is all we have over here, and suddenly the horde approaches. Of course, moving through these woods really, really stinks. Come on now. And these guys, I think I'm just going to hold position. Not going to move forward or anything like that. What I can do is kind of harass them with my light crossbowmen here. We could also reposition our guys in the woods. Or, you know what? What if we took position up here on the hill? It's just too skinny. We couldn't really have a square formation or anything like that. Just gonna move forward a little bit. Just a touch. Plenty more crossbowmen here in lingering in the rafters, so we're gonna bring them over as well. But just look at that. Obviously, the Austrians expected a fight. They did. And they're going to get one, I believe. Very little VL123. I used to, maybe when I was like 12 or 13, I got into Warhammer 40,000 for a bit. I used to buy Flames of War miniatures, but just to paint them, not to actually play. I wish I could get into tabletop wargaming, but I'm poor, so I can't do that. That's the problem. It's either tabletop wargaming or playing PC games. I think those are my choices. Look at that Austrian force arriving. Yes, of course. So the Field of Glory, all of the Field of Glory games are based off the Field of Glory tabletop. That is true. And that unit's already wavering just with the arrival of our reinforcements, really. Now, they did send their heavy cavalry forward first, their knights and sergeants. If we can hold those knights and sergeants for a turn, we'll actually do better than them because we're on top of the hill. However, I don't think we can hold them for a turn. So let's fill them full of lead. Alright. Try and just weaken them as much as we can, of course. You know what else I can do? I hate to use this term in a military sense, but be a bit of a cock blocker and just put my men like right in front of them there, so that they can't really get a charge. They can't really build up to a long charge. Here's what I'm going to do. They're going to have to evade. Our men are going to have to come into contact with someone. Alright, let's just keep peppering them with arrows. How about that? That seems to work. I'm going to bring up some light slingers. Oh, and they're starting to get some morale checks. I like that. Bring in the crossbowmen as well. Twice they got morale checks. So those guys are starting to waver. Let's take a look at the actual casualties here, just with those missile attacks. So from 123 heavily armored knights and sergeants to 104. That's not fun for them. It's not good. Now, again, if they run, we're not going to be able to hold this. And if we attack and hold, we'll be okay. But I think what I'm going to do, and this might be the wrong option, but I'm just going to simply stand in front of them. That's it. Start bringing up the rest of my army, of course. Help your Swiss brothers. Again, I told you, moving through the forest here is going to be a nightmare. It just takes so long. I think we have to fall back with our initial group. Or potentially even move forward a bit, because we want to have both of them fighting the enemy at the same time. We don't want them destroying this unit piecemeal. So let's get on top of the hill there. I think you guys can see what I'm looking at. Just like right on top of the hill. We'll be back. We'll be back, you Austrian dogs. Let's get our light slingers up here so they can be useful next turn, perhaps. And that's it. We've moved everybody, man. Shaping up to be a real nasty fight. They've gotten over the initial shock of the flank charge. But let's see how these knights react. Again, moving that unit through right there, that was a huge mistake. I really thought they were going to stop and fight. No way. There we go. They're charging, falling back. Again, they're trying to charge uphill. That's why I put those units there. So that was the right call. I'm pretty sure that was the right call. With those Swiss halberdiers up there on top of the hill, those knights don't stand a chance of rushing up there too easily. Right, my friends. And just get on that there hill. Love that uphill advantage. Those rocks are deadly at this distance. And now look at that. Already with a charge, we might be able to actually cause some disruptions. But I'm more curious to see what we can do against these knights here. And these other Swiss units directly ahead of us. really want to try and get one of those groups of knights to waver. And as you can see, like, even the units that kind of broke through the enemy line accidentally are causing the irregular enemy foot to waver. We can cause a break right now, potentially. These guys have their backs turned to us, so if we could just get a charge there, it would work out pretty damn well. There we go. That's right behind the rear, boys. As they turn it, that's what I like to see. Although I'm just going to keep the missile damage up. I'm not going to charge them because they're already doing ridiculous damage with just the missiles. Even the light slingers are going to get a taste of some of this action. So do we take the risk? Because again, if we can hold here, then we're in a very good position. I think I might just wait one more turn, or you know what? I'm sort of tempted to just ignore that light horse unit. But I know I'm going to have to give it chase just to get it out of the way. And we'll bring this guy up to fill the gap. Yeah, we're going to take the risk. They took the first risk. We held firm. That's pretty much all that matters. Despite taking a morale check there, we held firm. That's all that matters. Now, if we can hold them in place, and that's the question. Because even if these irregular foot come in and attack us on the flank, we're going to do poorly. Then I think that'll work out really well. Here we go. Trying to get them to hold firm there. Okay. Not bad at all. Let's do this, boys. This should be a decent roll-up strike, but we'll see. I won't get them the satisfaction of a charge. We'll just stay put with these units. Now they're bringing in guys for a flank attack. Yeah, that's going to go poorly for that frontal unit. But he put up a pretty good fight. How funny would it be if we could actually force them to break before we break in that particular fight? We'll have to see, because they still have one fight against the irregular foot, but they're badly damaged. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no, I've seen some. I've even shared it with I think even on the Discord I've shared those images. There was like a war game where guys tried to recreate the Battle of the Somme, and they literally recreated like every single unit in the Battle of the Somme, like every single miniature that would be there. It was insane. I could only imagine how much that would cost. Yeah, so no, we did not break them. I didn't expect we would there, because our guy is pretty badly hurt, but... And now actually the knight becomes part of the fight. Well, we can't have that. Disrupted, baby. He's gonna run anyway. It's a risky charge, but he's already in pretty bad shape. Can actually fire over our units fairly easily there. And you know what? I'd love to send a unit of spearmen right through there to flank those raw crossbowmen. This'll have to do, though. Again, big risk, as that's not really going in our favor. So I'm not going to even take the chance. But I will start getting behind that guy. Not yet. Not yet. Although, look at that. They're moving up the hill. We're going to help them get right back down the hill. There we go. We've pushed them back, although now we are in combat. The game is on over here for sure. Not chasing that Nomad Light Horse Archer. He's just going to run. Let's just stay put here with him as well. Now, this is where I'm a little more uncertain of how to approach. Let's see if they'll react first. Again, I think in a situation like this, it's almost better to wait and see if they react. Could actually get a light slinger unit here just to make sure they can't assist with the flank. And yeah, I'm going to risk it. And also so they can't hit our light crossbowman unit. Because if he can keep that fight up for a bit, we're going to do very well. Then again, it's really tempting to attack there. Yeah, I'll hold. Lots of movement there by enemy missile units. And I think they're making that push. They're sending irregulars forward, though. That should work in our favor as long as we can get that downhill charge. Oh, yeah. Knight's out of the fight. He doesn't want any more of this. Oh, baby. Disrupted. Of course, they're irregulars. They're pushed back. The frustrating thing is they can fall back so easily. That's the frustrating part of it. Let's see if this follow-up fight can finish them off. We're going to put the light crossbowmen in the way of the raw crossbowmen so they can't assist here in any way. That win is not going to go so well. Come on. Fragmentation, that's what we need to see. And we can do the same here. We are going to get into an attack with the Swiss Halberdiers. Get that downhill charge. They did hold firm on the first go. Come on. Fragmented the Knights. That's what I like to see. And again, if we could just get one charge here and break them, I'd be so happy. But it seems like they're doing pretty alright here. So let's just turn our attention entirely to the crossbowman unit. There we go. We got some disruptions. You see what I'm talking about? We could, of course, change the course of battle just knocking out some missile units. Not necessarily, but... Just gonna get on the line. Might as well let that fight happen. It's very unlikely to go in our favor. Okay. At least we didn't we didn't completely break. And I'm going to keep tagging that unit because they're already pretty badly hurt. Out of those 118 original knights, they've got 89 men left. Oh, cool, Pixel. I'll have to check that out. Nice. I think we have no choice. We've got to get aggressive on this front, too, to assist our men. Kind of come in for a flank attack, so we are going to start pushing on this end. I'll take a look. That's another game that does pretty well on streams here on the channel is Decisive Campaigns. Get them, boys. I don't know how to do a Swiss accent, so I'm lost for words. I'm only pushing to take position there. I know he's going to fall back. I just want to hold there. And sure enough, got into a charge. Is it going to go in our favor? I hope so, man. I really do. We're going to have to try and bring in some support really quickly. But I fear that if I get in over here, I'm going to actually be in a flanking position, or a position where the enemy can flank me. So let me just be safe about this. Get in front of him. There we go. Oh, we got another shot. Those poor mercenary crossbowmen. We have chopped them up big time. All right, let's see how it's going to go, guys. Again, we've got a lot of men attacking downhill here towards the main force. And now, of course, we're pushing forward with our smaller force. However, this is where Werner Stauffacher is. That's a hell of a name. Our commander-in-chief. Italian, French, exactly. A mix of an Italian with a German or French accent. Precisely. 1 second, guys. I want to give a special thanks, by the way, just to all of the channel members. People that actually, you know, become members of the channel. Get a little cool Agrippa emblem, and I'm going to have to drop that here. I haven't played any ads, but I've got to do an ad for myself at a minimum. So let me find that membership link at least. And a special thanks for stopping by, guys. From my understanding, this game is not currently out. I think I'm playing an early access version. However, it will be out. And, I mean, in terms of the Field of Glory 2 DLCs, I've really enjoyed things so far. Alright, let's see. Here is the membership link. And thank you, guys, for having a look. For those of you that are already members, a very special thanks. Okay, here we go. Ending that turn. Fingers crossed. Oh, I hate those flank attacks they're getting, but hopefully it won't make too much of a difference here in this first sort of bit of conflict. So they're entirely focusing on the western side there, from what I can see. They're not sending many reinforcements here to the south. Yep, that's where the Knights start doing pretty well on foot. There we go. Again, forcing some morale checks, but they are passing the morale checks. That's the real problem. Not this one, though. They broke. Beautiful. They should disperse. Maybe not. And again, they held firm on that morale check too, but the enemy is definitely getting beaten up. There's no way around that. Let's finish off these dogs. First things first. And see, now that the enemy's pretty disordered, I think we'd actually do pretty well in a charge. Or at least do a mediocre job, enough to startle them a bit. There we go. Now, I don't like that we're fighting these knights head-on. That's no fun. I also don't like that one of the enemy units here is kind of behind our line. So we need to bust through. We really do. This is one location where we initially could have. Oh, baby. Fragmented. Give us a break. And as you guys can see here, the original number, let's actually take a look. Their original number was 242 crossbowmen. They have 159 purely due to missile fire. Purely due to missile fire. Yeah, that's what I'm concerned about. That's exactly what I'm concerned about, Ariman. We really need to try and break through. We're so close to getting full disruptions here, but it's got to work this turn. There's a break. Please break through. There's a route. Not too bad, but it would have been much better if they had broken over here. What about a charge? Still relatively in our favor. I want to undo that. There we go. Auto break. And disrupted the archers. Not too bad. But Ariman is right. We have a lot of situations here where we are very close to getting charged. They're not going to do well at all against this guy. You know what? Why didn't I think of that? Let's just move on through. Assist over here as much as we can. We can even get in here with the slingers and maybe break that crossbowman unit. Like, I'm so annoyed at this unit. Getting right up close and personal. Another group of Swiss halberdiers as well. And we can even transfer the general to one of our existing units. Might as well make that combat happen. I wonder, and this is a, I mean, I think it's worth trying, because I know there's something about zones of control. Maybe if we move the archer or the crossbowman here, this guy won't be able to flank attack. I'm not sure. I'm willing to try. Let's put it that way. At a minimum, we can bring this new spearman unit out to start holding the line there. Come on, boys. Those knights dispersed. They had nowhere to run to, nowhere to actually retreat to. They are our prisoners. Beautiful defensive job there by the Swiss halberdiers. 32 enemy spearmen killed. And even over here, 27. Those are raw spearmen, so that's kind of... I'd expect that, but those guys were standard spearmen. These Swiss are excellent. Excellent. Now, hopefully, with the existing missile units, we can easily disrupt those knights. They have, like, no men left. They're really close to breaking. We'll see. I really hope so. Again, we did great there. Disrupted them. We just need to hold these lines. And if we can hold these lines, it'll be a monumental victory. Although that raw spearman unit on our, in a possible flanking position, not making me feel good, of course. Oh, that's annoying. So they actually, instead of staying put, they turn, they're chasing. It's not going to take much, though, to force that unit to retreat. They're in a position where they're not even going to be combat effective here in a bit. There we go. We finally broke the crossbowmen. Didn't get any morale checks on any of the surrounding units, but I'm happy we got rid of those guys finally. Now let's see if we can wrap this up for good. First of all, already we do an incredibly good impact damage here. Over here as well, man. I mean, just about anywhere we do fairly well in combat, but their armored spearmen are definitely more of a threat to me. So let's go for it. Downhill charge. That's what I'm looking for. Take care of Yo123. Thank you so much for stopping by, man. And that goes for the rest of you. Make sure that if you're new to the channel, to subscribe to us. Join us here. I know you're not new to the channel. I'm just saying that for any lurkers that are not in the chat or you know, people that are just new, period. Fragmented. Come on, guys. If we can keep this up, the possibilities are endless. Those spearmen are really holding their own. Well, we could try for a flank attack here. We're going to end up getting behind these units. They will retreat from this location. So I just want to get up on that hill or just be closer to the units here to help defend them. We've got to go through with that combat. We've got no choice. Our men held firm, but of course falling back and not in a great position at all. Now what about over here? Doing great, although the enemy is also holding firm, sure enough. Here's our opportunity with Benno Osterlo. And nice. We just need these subsequent battles to go well, really. The entire battle, these raw crossbowmen have just been sitting here, allowing us to pepper them with arrows. I love it. Keep it going, boys. Yeah, we fired with just about everybody. But look at that unit of enemy knights, man. They had 123 men. They're down to 53. So we're going to eventually be able to get those guys to retreat. Now let's see how the Swiss perform here in this upcoming fight. Come on, boys. Yeah, that's what I was worried about. They did disrupt that unit. I should stop going for those, what I think is going to be an easy flank. If there's any chance at all for the enemy to get close to me, forget the flank attack. There we go. Disruption amongst the enemy lines. I'd love to see some more disruption here. Disruption. See, this could cause a chain effect as long as our guys manage to break one of their units, which would greatly help us. There's a break, folks. Look at that. We've got some disruptions, although most of the enemies held firm, it seems. Oh, yes. Vittoria. Want to look for the disordered units and focus on them with our archers. If we can, if we can. Come on, break already. Man. It's just lucky he just gets out of the way of all of our fire. Ah, shit. Wrong button. We did fragment them, though. Unfortunately, the Austrians are holding. They're still dying like rabbits, but they're, for the most part, holding. You are right. Yeah, we need... Exactly. We need more of those breaks. We need more. There's a nice fragmentation. Not bad, but again, yep, we need them to start getting those morale checks. Another break. Got some fragmentation in the enemy line. We got to be careful though. We're starting to get some fragmentation in our own line. Another break. 2 breaks. 3 breaks, 4 breaks, 2 disruptions. That's what we need to see, man, but it needs to be consistent. It needs to be consistent. See, right there, they're going to do quite well against this unit and likely even get rid of that Swiss Halberdier unit. Make sure I'm not forgetting anybody. We got to just get out of here with the cavalry. They're a liability right now. Let's just get out. They'd still best us, these knights, so I'm just going to move in front of them. I'm pretty much trying to call their bluff. Just kind of get around near them. And actually over here, the impact damage could be sufficient to hold for a bit. But I suspect these spearmen or halberdiers would be much better used flanking the existing enemy positions. Yeah, just need to prevent catastrophes from happening, exactly. And we are prone to catastrophes, especially at Field of Glory. We have had some situations in the past. Fingers crossed, my friends. For the Swiss Confederation. Yeah, finally their knight dispersed. About time. There we go. Fragmentation. Enemies are just dispersing because they have nowhere to retreat to. I mean, they'd essentially run into the pikes of their own men. But that's the unit I'm worried about. That unit of Swiss Halberdiers. And sure enough, they did get fragmented. Could be problematic. But it could also be an opportunity for us to trap a unit. See, when they get disruptions like that, never good. Incredible breakthrough by, I think that's actually, yep, Duke Leopold of Austria. That is the Duke of Austria right there, my goodness. So yeah, we need to keep it going, but when things like that happen, I lose faith. I lose a little bit of faith. They are holding firm, but they are also really running low on men. We forced another unit to break. Another unit to break. 2 breaks. It might be too late for Duke Leopold. We might have it. 3 breaks. By the time he reaches the unit he's chasing, he's going to realize that his army is defeated, I believe. Let's see if I'm correct. That's an almost too easy break there. Let's first just get a shot, weaken them even more. We could have also used the shot against that spearman unit that's about to retreat. First things first. That impact shot's not going to work too well. I'm tempted to just go for the weakest unit. Well, I know that's the weakest unit, but we can hit this guy from two sides. That knight's not going to be able to charge us this turn at least, so I think I'm just going to get these guys engaged and break them down bit by bit. Yeah, we could also go for a lucky shot against Duke Leopold, but I don't expect that to happen. So I'm thinking the better option is maybe just focus on one of these guys like the irregular foot and try to break them. Add to our overall kill count, pretty much. Should have fired at that unit. Disrupted! That's what we're going for. Let's see what happens when we charge in here. Actually, wouldn't go too badly, but it's almost like we have to win that fight. Over here, for instance, we're not going to do well against those knights, so I'll just hold my ground. First, I'll try to bust through there. That would be even better. If not, we'll send them through. We have a better chance of winning than we do losing, but it's not great either way. Yeah, very, very even fight. Alright, that's not awful. Now, we almost certainly will not win this charge, but the upcoming charge we will. We held firm, that's fine, and no morale check. Now the question is, do we go here, or do we press on towards where the enemy cavalry is? I think we go here and just... you know what? No. We keep pushing. Now our Swiss halberdiers are coming out of the woods. I think we're in a pretty good position. We could even charge here and probably do fairly well, but let's not push our luck. Yeah, you see, with the Knights, even though our Halberdiers are epic, I think probably one of my favorite units in the game, against Knights and Sergeants, they're still going to have an issue. Well, dismounted Knights and Sergeants, I should say. They do great against mounted Knights and Sergeants. Very even fighting this turn. Very even. There we go. Push them back a bit over here. And I think the numbers here are going to break them soon, because they are running out of men. Although King Leopold has turned around, he can certainly become part of the fight very soon. I think I'm just going to try to get in his way. Right, now with these halberdiers, right on the irregular foot, it's definitely going to be the correct unit to attack here. Might take a turn or two for the damage to materialize. No, there we go. They're starting to disrupt. Same over here. As long as we're not flanked, I believe we've got the upper hand. Let's do it. The fight that never ends, eh, guys? This is a long one for sure. And they are holding firm, but again, those dismounted knights, let's take a look at the numbers. 252, they're down to 138 men. I mean, that's a ridiculous amount of losses. They do have Sieghard Helbing in there. If we can kill that sub-general, obviously it's going to help hugely with morale. Alright, here we go, guys. Ending the turn again. May God guide our pikes to victory. Or our halberds, I should say. Some rallies there amongst the enemy lines. We never want to see that, of course. Yep, that's what I was worried about. The king is breaking through. King Leopold trying to come to the aid of his men. Hold, boys. I know those flank attacks are never fun. They actually managed to hold despite being disrupted. There's some fragmentation on the Austrian side. Beautiful. Just need this to keep going. Our general fallen. Not good. I think it was our sub-general. It may have been our CNC. We'll soon CNC, that's for sure. Auto broke the enemy unit there. Beautiful. And we also disrupted that Nomad Light Horse Archer unit, although not a big deal. We broke another unit, guys. They are at 45%. We might have it here. We might have it here just by, like, the skin of our teeth. We won. I mean, I will say this. I am really shocked because had they had maybe one or two more turns, they would have gotten us. But thanks to those lucky breaks, thanks to the might of the Swiss Halberdier, I mean, what an incredible defensive unit. And just what a great unit, period. But that right there is a victory. Let's take a look at this battlefield. I want to see the body counts. Man. You see what I mean, though? In certain situations over here, they had some strong units that they could still use over here specifically. With the Matthias von Lug, the sub-general. Cheers, guys. Yeah, that was a fun little fight. That was a fun one. But yeah, there's a taste of, there is a taste of the kind of content you can get in the new DLC, of course. Now, I want to be very clear. I don't get anything from Slytherin for doing these videos. So again, if you want to help the channel, be an awesome guy like Anthony is, and become a member if you can, or if you, don't have the means or whatever, you know, make sure to subscribe, like the video, comment when the video is uploaded, share with your friends, or be awesome like the Rambling Exile here, Ariman, and if you want to be an admin or a moderator, we could, well, we can't use your help right now. I think we have enough at the moment, but eventually we can use your help. Thanks so much, guys. Make sure to, yep, do all that fun stuff. We'll also be streaming on Twitch a little bit later, and we might do another stream here on YouTube a little bit later as well, particularly with World in Conflict. Man, a lot of people have viewed those streams, and I am curious to see what happens next. All right, my friends, I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much, Aramon, for stopping by, man. Always good to see you. We did not have any spammers that you could execute today, but maybe the next stream for sure. I'm also going to put the Discord link here for anybody that doesn't have it. Catch you later, folks.